the history of surrogacy and its legal timeline. This is Varsha, advocate from Law Chambers of G.R. Hari and Indian Surrogacy Law Center. So before we move into the history of surrogacy, we need to know what is surrogacy. So surrogacy is a practice whereby a woman bears a child and gives birth to a child for an intending couple with an intention of handing over the child to the intending couple. So in this practice, the surrogate mother becomes a substitute for the biological mother. There are two types of surrogacy. One is the traditional surrogacy and the other is the gestational surrogacy. In traditional surrogacy, the child is genetically related to both the surrogate mother and the intending father or the anonymous donor, whereby the surrogate mother provides the egg and the intending father or an anonymous donor provides the sperm. So this type of surrogacy was not widely practiced in India, but the other type of surrogacy, the gestational surrogacy, which means the surrogate mother carries a child for the intending couple through implantation of embryo in the womb. So in this type of surrogacy, the child is not genetically related to the surrogate mother. So this type of surrogacy was practiced much in India. So next, what is history of surrogacy? So around the year 1978, the embryo transfers were made through in vitro fertilization, that is IVF, meaning it is a process where a human egg is fertilized in a laboratory and then it is implanted into the uterus. And through this process, the first child that was born is Louis Brown, and he was born in UK. So this is a very famous case which everybody is aware of, but in India, there is no official documentation as to the first surrogacy, but the IVF in India was done in Kolkata. And interestingly, there was the second case of IVF in the whole world. Surrogacy was not backed by any legislation back then, and it was not regulated in India. But around late 90s and early 2000s, quite a few foreign couples started coming down to India to take up surrogacy as it was more economically viable than in any other country. So this being so, in the year 2005, for the first time, the Indian Council for Medical Research, that is the ICMR, published the national guidelines for accreditation, supervision and regulation of ART clinics in India, and it laid down standards for ART clinics and also gave a general consideration regarding surrogacy. So this was the first step in India to regulate the surrogacy procedure. After this is when the famous case of the Apex Court in Baby Manji vs. Union of India in the year 2009 discussed about the reproductive science of surrogacy, practices of surrogacy, and also the role of surrogate mothers. So almost after 7 years of this case, a major development took place in the year 2015, whereby the government of India issued a notification prohibiting import of human embryos into India, and foreign nationals were also not allowed to take up surrogacy in India. In pursuance to this development, in the year 2016, a bill was introduced to regulate the surrogacy arrangements and also to prohibit commercial surrogacy, meaning no remuneration can be paid to the surrogate mother. But this bill eventually elapsed. At this point, there was only one bill for both ART, that is Assisted Reproductive Technology, and surrogacy. Again, in 2019, a bill was introduced which intended to allow only altruistic surrogacy and not commercial surrogacy, meaning no remuneration can be paid to surrogate mothers. So this also elapsed. Few attempts to bring in a legislation for surrogacy failed, but in 2020, finally a bill was passed by the parliament and it was passed on 25th of December 2021, which gave effect to the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 and the Assisted Reproductive Technology Act 2021, and this was called the twin legislations, which is currently in practice. The salient features of the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 will be covered in the next video. Stay tuned.